Clearly it's getting serious because it's getting more and more painful, and it's getting progressively longer and longer the amount of time that I'm feeling this excruciating pain taking over my body. This video contains some graphic details that pertain to my postpartum journey, which may be a little bit TMI for some viewers. I wanted to be as raw and honest as possible about my experience. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, every Monday I upload mommy related videos and every Friday I upload story times. So if that's something that you like, please subscribe to my channel, and without further ado, let's get started. So for today's video, I am doing a postpartum story. Postpartum to this little one right here. Yeah? You want to say hi? Say hi. Say hi, everybody. You can tell everyone to subscribe. Say subscribe. 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 Okay. Yeah? Are you eating mommy's lipstick? Ooh. Say hi, everybody. Okay, so for my pregnancy, generally speaking, I had a very healthy pregnancy. Any tests or blood work or whatever, it always came back normal. The only thing that wasn't so great about being pregnant was that I was very, very nauseous for the first half of my pregnancy. Not just the first trimester, I would say the first half of my pregnancy. I really struggled with food. I basically couldn't eat anything that had to be cooked. Any warm food just did not sit in my stomach very well. And because of this food aversion, I just did not have much of an appetite. Eating was basically a chore. It became a chore at this point because, you know, I gotta eat to keep myself healthy and I had to nourish my baby or whatever. So I basically survived off of Boost protein drinks, which sat very well in my stomach. For my first half of my pregnancy, I was throwing up pretty much every single day. Pretty much anything warm was a no-go for me. I did not eat meat. I could not stand the smell of meat. And then by the time I got to my second trimester, I wasn't as nauseous anymore, but my appetite just never came back. And I was able to eat a little bit more, but even then, like, I don't know, I just couldn't eat. Because of this issue that I had with food during my pregnancy, I really didn't gain that much. I maybe gained about 10 pounds throughout my whole pregnancy, but my baby was growing and my baby was healthy, and there was no health concerns in terms of the growth and development of my baby. So that was that. And labor and delivery, it went pretty smoothly. I actually wrote a blog post about my labor and delivery, and if you want to read that, I'll put a link for that down below. But this video is about postpartum and my postpartum journey. So after I had given birth, I was healing from stitches, and I had a few TMI for a second, I had a few hemorrhoids. Okay, and they were not fun. I couldn't sit. For some reason, I managed to not poop for an entire week after giving birth. I was happy. When I came home from the hospital, I did not want to eat. I didn't want to chance having to poop. I did eat, but I just didn't eat that much. And I just was very selective. And after you give birth, they do give you stool softeners so that, you know, it's a little bit more of a smooth process, if you will. But still, when you know, got hemorrhoids, it's not very fun regardless of what's coming out and how it's coming out. So I somehow managed to not poop for an entire week. I don't know how. And then when I finally pooped, it wasn't really all that bad. So actually I had a little bit of time, like healing time, which was great, fantastic. I also had a lot of stitches. The healing process from that, I feel like it was very standard. Nothing too out of the ordinary with that. After a few weeks of giving birth, I started to feel better, and about a month later, I started to feel like, you know, I can like sit again. But I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. About, I want to say, a month and a half to 2 months after I had given birth, I was taking a shower, and all of a sudden I had this immense pain just take over my body. It probably was one of the worst pains I've ever felt in my life, and I have broken bones. I've split my head open twice. I've given birth. This moment in the shower that I was having was a very, very painful one. One of the most painful things that has ever happened to me. And it was so painful, I felt like it knocked the wind out of me. I walked out of the shower dripping, like soaking wet, and didn't even turn off the shower, nothing. And just so you guys know, I actually have ensuite bathroom. So in my bedroom, I have my own like private bathroom. I walked out of the shower and I walked towards my bed and leaned on my bed, and I am like drenched, like soaking wet from, you know, the shower. And I just felt like, I don't know, like something was rotting in my stomach. It just took over my body, the amount of pain that I was in. My husband, because he was in the living room, and I called him over, and to see me in this kind of distress, I want to say it's never happened. Like I have a very high pain tolerance. I never really am in pain per se, and I don't really complain about being in pain like ever. So my husband naturally was very, you know, concerned seeing his wife crouched over the bed, soaking wet from the shower, and like crying from pain. Then before I knew it, this pain just went away. Like it never happened. Like I was feeling great. Like I want to say that the amount of time that I was feeling this pain for was maybe around 5 minutes realistically, but I felt like it was going on for much longer. When you're in pain, like time just goes by super, super, super slowly. But I think it was maybe about 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden I was just like, I could breathe again. Like I just felt like, and I was just like, okay, well, I mean, I feel fine now. Like I don't feel any pain. I don't feel any discomfort. I feel like that this pain just never happened. I was feeling like 100 again. And my husband was like, are you sure? Like, should we go to the hospital? Should we go get checked out? And I'm just like chalking it up to, oh, wow, maybe it's just everything going back into place. So that was that. So I went back in the shower, finished up my shower, and went on with my day like nothing happened. About a week later, this pain came back out of nowhere. I feel like it might have been like 10 o'clock at night, around nighttime. And I'm like laying in bed. All of a sudden, I feel this pain just take over my body again. Worst pain I've ever felt. I mean, when you're like in labor and you're delivering a baby, the pain threshold goes like this, right? It goes up and then down, up and then down. But when I was feeling this pain, it was going up, and if I was like attached to the monitor where it measures like your threshold of pain or whatever, it would have been like off the chart, and it would have stayed off of the chart. I'm overheating, I'm like really, really hot, and I'm like sweating, and I'm just like, which is rare because I don't really sweat. Like even when I work out, like I don't really get sweaty. Like I get a little clammy, but I don't get sweaty. But I was getting really, really, really sweaty and really hot. And then out of nowhere, I started getting cold, and I was feeling this pain, and it was like, I don't know, I felt like something was dying inside of me. Like I felt trapped in pain in my own body, and I could not escape it. And it was a very suffocating feeling. So I want to say this time it lasted about 20 minutes. So 20 minutes of the pain being off of the chart, very, very, very painful, like 1,000 out of 10. My husband's like, are you sure we should go to the hospital? You know, you should really go like get checked out. I don't think this is normal. And I'm just like, well, maybe it's just everything, you know, going back into place and my organs being rearranged and being compressed down. Like, I don't know. Honestly, guys, I rather be in the comfort of my own home than in a hospital. Not because I'm afraid of hospitals, not because I'm afraid of like a diagnosis or like I'm afraid of doctors. It's nothing like that. It's a comfort thing, and I'm just more comfortable in my own home. A week later, this happened again. And this time it lasted an hour. An hour of super, super high pain. So now at this point, I'm like, okay, well, like clearly there's a pattern. Clearly it's getting serious because it's getting more and more painful, and it's getting progressively longer and longer the amount of time that I'm feeling this excruciating pain taking over my body. Side note, I'm a breastfeeding mom, so I'm very, 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 very careful about what medication I put into my body because that can translate into the breast milk. So this was all going on. I would take nothing more than an ibuprofen to try to combat the pain, but I was in so much pain, it practically does nothing. I was like, okay, I need to go to the hospital. I called the labor and delivery ward where I had given birth, and I called them while I was in the middle of feeling this excruciating pain, and it was a kind of pain that you just can't talk through. Like, it was very painful. I could not talk through this, and I was often passing the phone to my husband, but the nurse kept wanting to talk to me, and I'm like, Jesus, I'm just in a lot of pain right now. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, I don't know where to pinpoint it. I don't know what to do. Like, I'm like freaking out. We packed up the car and we ended up going to the labor and delivery ward where I had given birth. We had to take Eloise with us, and our friend was visiting at the time, so we all went. The reason why we had to take Eloise with us because as I said earlier, I still am a breastfeeding mom, but then Eloise was cluster feeding and she was feeding like every hour, so I couldn't just like leave her with someone, so brought her with me. And because we were going to like the labor and delivery ward, I wasn't too worried about that because it's a very sterile environment anyways. We go and I start telling my symptoms to the doctor. At this point, the pain is all gone, of course, and I'm like telling my husband, I feel like we're wasting time. They're gonna say nothing is wrong, and this is like a huge inconvenience, like in the middle of the night dragging a baby to the hospital. It's a huge inconvenience. And I honestly was like saying every excuse in the book to not want to be there, and how it's probably going to be a waste of our time, there's nothing wrong, whatever. Husband's just like, we're here now, we're gonna figure out like what this is. I don't think this is normal. So I'm telling the symptoms to the doctor. Listen, like, I get these intense stomach pains that is like right up here, like in my upper abdomen area, and it is the worst pain that I've ever felt in my life. I get hot, I get cold, this pain just takes over my body, and the doctor is looking at me like I'm speaking a different language. Like, he doesn't like know what's going on with me. He thinks like I'm like a weird phenomenon, like a medical phenomenon or something. So my husband turned to the doctor and was just like, because as I'm like telling all my symptoms, I guess my husband's like on Google like searching up the symptoms because he could tell that the doctor was like completely clueless, and was like, could it be gallbladder stones perhaps? And the doctor looked like a light bulb went off in his head, and he figured out that this could very well be a very strong possibility. And he's just like, well, yeah, that could be it too. So anyways, they took my blood work. He did a little look-see down there, and everything seemed normal. There was something that was elevated slightly in my blood work, but the doctor didn't seem too worried about that. And he said that I'm going to have an ultrasound in the morning because the ultrasound section of the hospital is currently closed. So I was checked into the hospital with Eloise, was able to stay with me, and so that, you know, I could nurse her through the night. And then first thing in the morning, I went down to get an ultrasound, and sure enough, there was gallbladder stones. The text said that they were very small and like grainy-like, and it was most likely due to the change of hormones in my pregnancy. When I talked to the doctor later, the doctor that I was talking to was a female doctor this time, and not the same doctor I saw when I came in that night. And she was telling me how after she had given birth, she also encountered gallbladder stones. Gallbladder stones could be caused by a variety of things, but one of those things is pregnancy. And she told me that it was worse than giving birth. And I was just like, yes, see, I thought I was going crazy. I thought I was being dramatic. Like, no, like, this is the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. So they just wrote out a slip thing that I have to give to whatever hospital that I want to have the surgery at to remove my gallbladder. She then also prescribed a very strong pain medication to help combat the pain, but she did say that if I take this medication that it will go into my breast milk and it could affect Eloise. But if like I'm like in dire pain, obviously like I should take it. But I got that prescription filled, and since then I've had a few gallbladder attacks, but I've never actually taken this pain medicine because, like I said earlier, like I'm very particular about what I put into my body because of, you know, I'm breastfeeding, and I still am breastfeeding. and I haven't had the surgery yet, and I haven't had a gallbladder attack in months. Like it's been a long time since I've had a gallbladder attack, so it hasn't been really affecting my life all that much, but it is something that I'm gonna have to deal with. I am going to have to remove my gallbladder because of this situation. It's not that I'm nervous for surgery, why I haven't had it yet, because I've had surgeries before. I'm not scared of surgeries, I don't mind that. It's just because I know, like, once I get my gallbladder removed for a couple of days, like, it's gonna be a little bit of a process, and for that day I will not be able to breastfeed. So I'm like a little bit nervous about that, and I decided to hold off the surgery until Eloise is completely weaned off of me, so that I don't know, feel like guilty about it. I don't know, it's mom guilt. Mom guilt is a real thing. While having a gallbladder attack one time, she was crying because she wanted to be breastfed, and I don't know how I managed to do it, but I managed to breastfeed her while having a gallbladder attack. And honestly, I don't know if this is like a placebo effect, but I find that when I breastfeed, it kind of helps with the pain. I did put in the request at my local hospital to have the surgery, and because it's not like a high priority thing, I'm not like being rushed in to have this surgery, but I will have to have my gallbladder removed eventually. Probably before I get pregnant again, I want to get my gallbladder removed because I don't want to have a gallbladder attack while dealing with pregnancy. That would be a lot, especially if it leads to something that's more serious, like an infection or something like that. I just think the risks are too high. So after I'm done breastfeeding Eloise and she's completely weaned off, and before I get pregnant with the second child, I'm gonna have that surgery and get this gallbladder removed once and for all. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. I hope that it provided you with some insight. Before, during, and after my pregnancy, I liked watching these kinds of videos just to kind of give me perspective of other women's journeys out there. So hopefully this provided you with some perspective based off of my journey. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.